being a landlord can be an absolute nightmare. Buying rental property and becoming a landlord sounds amazing in theory. You've got positive cash flow coming in monthly and you're building equity. But there are some common and very real situations that come along with renting your property to tenants that can have this experience going from a great money-making situation to a straight up money pit. It could even be filled with cockroach infestations. Stay tuned, because y'all are about to hear a horror story that you don't want to miss. Amanda Rivard, local McKinney, Texas realtor, and today we are going to talk about the negative side of being a landlord. I know the BRRRR method became very popular and everyone wanted to become a landlord, but it's not the walk in the park that everyone thinks that it is. I'm here to expose the dark side of being a landlord because, well, yes, of course, there are some great benefits to owning as much real estate as you possibly can, but I think it's important to know the negative side of this as well. We're gonna talk a little bit about this today, and we're actually gonna talk to one of my clients who purchased a rental property. That way you can hear the nightmare experience she just had with her tenant. She's hilarious and I love her, but she's gonna share this wild story from her own account, and it is a story. Choosing your tenant wisely is the best advice I can give to prevent situations like this. Of course, checking credit score, their background, getting references from past or current landlords is super important, but even in doing that, it is not fully fail-safe. Regardless of doing all your homework, you could still end up with one of these tenants from hell, and you usually don't know until well after they have moved in. Are you gonna get the mystery mess maker, the party animal with a PhD in destruction, the ghost tenant, the DIY disaster, or the professional squatter? Who knows? It's like playing tenant roulette sometimes. Let's have a chat with her so you can hear for yourself a real life scenario that just happened this week. This is my client, Lindsay. I helped her about 4 years ago acquire her first rental property. Very exciting. I remember the house was in really pretty decent shape, like cosmetically when you got it. Super clean and basically move-in ready. But upon move out of her tenant just recently, she has had a wild experience, and I think people need to hear about the dark side of being a landlord. So I guess my first question is, because I know I didn't help you guys find the tenant, so did you have someone lined up when you had bought the property? Okay.
Yeah. So the guy that moved in, he was a coworker. He was actually the manager of the bar that my husband was working at the time, and he had known him for quite a while. And we knew him on a personal level. We were still wet behind the ears in our landlord days, and so no credit check was run and no references were verified. And he moved in a week and a half after we finalized the sale of the house. He never missed a rent payment.
That's good.
So yeah, he was on time every single month. So, we thought, wow, this is great.
Right. And so he was there for like 4 years, right?
Yes. He renewed his lease 3 times.
Okay. Which is really good. Long-term tenant who's paying his rent. So I guess overall during the experience while he was there, it wasn't a bad experience for you guys.
Not financially. No, not until a few days ago.
Okay. So then let's talk about that part. So I guess he was breaking his lease, right? Because you guys had like a rental contract that you had made with him that allowed for subleasing. So how exactly did that play out in the end?
So he messaged me last week and asked me how much we would charge him to break his lease. His mother had passed away, not in the house, but just anyway. And it was just it had become too much for him to live there. And I said, well, per your lease, there's a penalty, which was over $1,800 plus 1 month's back rent, 30 days notice. And he said, well, I have somebody to sublet the property. And I said, okay. So I sent, an application over for credit and criminal background and doing all the things now. The guy never got back to me. He never submitted the application. He never submitted proof of income. And so the morning of he was supposed to vacate, I said, okay, time's up. So we had scheduled a walk through that day at 3 p.m. He stopped responding that morning. And that's, so I kind of knew that when I got there, he probably wasn't going to be there. And he wasn't. And I got there. And that's where the stuff of nightmares began. From the time that I opened the door. I mean, just terrible, just terrible.
So yeah, I've heard the story, but because it is so disgusting and it is an actual nightmare, like, I guess explain what you saw after his move out and how that made you feel.
So I walked in the front door, and as soon as I opened the door, the smell was horrific. The house has been smoked in, I don't know for how long. It smelled like pet urine, cigarette smoke, dirty feet, a gym bag. I mean, it was just, it made me gag. And I don't know how long the power has been off there.
Oh,
So I
God.
walk in the door. The house has natural wood floors in the living area and down the hallway. And the first thing I see is damage on the door frames. And I'm not talking scratches. The dogs that he had, both under 50 pounds. One was a very small dog and one was a bully. The door frames had not been scratched. They had been eaten. The wood had been completely eaten from the floor to about 3 inches up on each door frame. So I start looking around. The curtain rods are hanging down. There is at least 1.5 inches of brown, if not black dust all over the ceiling fan. And I was like, okay, this is bad, but let's keep moving. So I closed the front door. The whole back of it is completely just destroyed from the dogs. There's a closet by the door. Just scratching is not even the right word for this. This looks like Freddy Krueger went in there and just destroyed the doors. So I walked down the hallway. The smell is getting worse. And I'm like, oh my God, like, is there a dead body here? And I'm not even being funny. Like, this is really bad. So I walk in the bedroom, and there used to be really nice high pile carpet. The carpet has, I don't know what it is. I'm assuming food, drinks, potentially bodily fluids, animal fluids that are around. You can tell where the bed was because it's so filthy around it.
Ew.
Yeah. The closet doors have been ripped off the hinges. There is what appears to be food, crumbs, just debris all in the bottom of the closet. So I look over, and the first thing that caught my attention was the blinds. Has plastic, just 1-inch standard mini blinds. And there was about 2 centimeters, which doesn't sound like a lot, but on each blind of rust colored dust. Okay. At this point, I'm on the phone with my husband. I'm literally gagging, and he's like, just get out of there. And I'm like, I can't. I've got to finish this walkthrough.
Yeah, you got to take pictures and document.
So I open the HVAC closet in the hallway. I had to pry it open with a pocket knife because it was stuck shut. So I don't know when the last time this was open. Mind you, every 6 months I check in. Hey, just make sure you're changing your air filters, et cetera, et cetera. So I get the door open, and I pull the air filter out. It's been in there so long that I would say 2 inches of accumulation of whatever it is, dust mites, air, nastiness. It looks like a winter wool coat. It is that thick, and it is solid brown. And there is a hole about that big in the middle that's semi different colored than the rest of it, where the HVAC system is attempting to suck air through it. It was sucked up into the HVAC system, and it was wet.
Oh my God.
I pull it out, and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't think this has ever been changed. If it has, it's been well over a year. I pull it out, I took a picture of it, and I'm just like, and the smell is just so bad. So I go into the bathroom. There is mold black mold all around the crevice of the tub. There is nasty, like just debris, like dirty Q-tips and denture strips and maxi pads on the side of the toilet, and just nastiness. All the paint on the shelves is depleted. It's peeling off. The toilet has a pink rim inside of it. I don't even know how that's a thing. So I walk out of the bathroom. I go into the master bedroom. There's holes about 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet in diameter on the carpet where the dogs had ripped the carpet out. The blinds were filthy, disgusting. The same condition as the other room, a little bit better. But what got me was the fact that the day before he told me the house is in really great condition. I have a cleaning lady that comes every 2 weeks. The yard's maintained. You know, he was expecting to get a security deposit back.
That's honestly insane. I mean, I understand, like,
my security deposit and my pet deposit, that'll cover the damages. I hadn't even reached the worst of it yet. It gets better, but wait, there's more. So I walk into the kitchen. I'm like, okay, mind you, there's no powers on. I've already said that. So I walk into the kitchen and I'm like, all right, let me, I haven't even touched any of the appliances. I'm looking around, you know, checking I'm in awe of how nasty it is. Open the refrigerator. The freezer has some brown liquid on the bottom of it. The refrigerator, nasty old takeout boxes. So I was like, all right, let me check under the sink, see if anything was left. I open the cabinets under the sink, and there is 3 or 4 cockroaches. I don't mean the big ones. I mean the little, they're called the German cockroaches.
The German ones, yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is great. This is really cool. Because I know from previous experiences with other landlords, there's not just 1 or 2 German cockroaches. They come in colonies. So I closed the sink and I jumped back and I was like, oh, crap. What am I about to find? So I opened the oven, disgusting. Okay. And I was like, all right, well, you know, in my head, I'm like, I can self-clean it. I can do this. I opened the dishwasher. There's hundreds of German roaches in the dishwasher. And it is brown.
Oh my God.
From all the roach poop. Didn't know roaches pooped and it was brown, but evidently they do. There's poop everywhere. Okay. It looks like somebody threw a poop bomb in there and they start coming out. And I was like, I gotta go. I am getting
hot right now. Like my body is physically
I am crawling. Okay. So I walked into the other room to snap a picture. I didn't even take a picture of it. I was like, I got to get out of here. Like, I don't do roaches. So I go into the 3rd bedroom, which I don't think really ever got used. And mind you, there's ashtrays and there's old cigarette butts. There is a cockroach the size of the palm of my hand, and he has a red heart on his back.
What?
That was it. It was a cockroach that had this red like marking, and I was like, "This, I don't even know what to do right now." So I left. I got my stuff.
Get a lighter and just take some gasoline.
So I walk around the back of the house. There is urine-covered bath mats, urine-covered sheets, old food packaging, old rusted dog kennels, all thrown and pushed in between the railing of the back porch and the house. The stench is so bad. I don't know how long they've been out there. I don't know if it's human piss. I don't know if it's dog piss. It stunk. It stunk.
Oh my God.
I was like, you know what? This is it. Like I called my husband. I got in the car, told him what was going on. I immediately started calling exterminators, and a friend of mine recommended an exterminator because I'm not calling Termex. I didn't want to use any of the big guys.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he may have been my 5th or 6th that I called, and he answered the phone, and it was a single individual, nice as can be. And he goes, I said, I need to get somebody out there ASAP. And he said, okay, well, I'm in, an hour away. He goes, let me finish this job I'm at and I'll head over there. And I said, okay, I'm turning around right now. Matter of fact, I think I had you on the phone.
Yep.
I turned around and I went and put a key into the mat. And I said, there's no power. He said, don't worry about it. I get home. He calls me, starts sending me pictures. he said when he started, he goes, I went in, he goes, I started to nuke the Germans. And he said they started pouring out of every crack and crevice, cabinets, underneath appliances. He pulled out the oven. This is the things nightmares are made of. Pulled out the oven. Somebody had vomited in between the oven and the counter. Okay. It's been there for a long time. And the pile of vomit was underneath the oven. And that's what the roaches were eating. That was their food source.
Oh,
Okay.
this shit is wild. It's
disgusting. So he does this thing. He was there for 4 hours. 4 hours for an 1,100 square foot house. So then he goes, after I finished the kitchen, I talked to him the morning after. And he said, after I finished the kitchen area, obviously wasn't going to just leave. I'd finished my job. He said, I started looking around and noticing in the closets that there was cockroaches. And so he said he moved the curtains in the bedrooms.
Oh, God.
There were not German cockroaches, but American cockroaches. And I don't know if you know what that is, but it's what we call water bugs. And they are
the big
large.
ones.
They're big. They fly.
Ugh.
They were crawling up the back of the curtains. They had laid eggs all over the curtains. There was like, I don't even know how cockroaches lay their eggs, but evidently it's wherever they want to do them. So he sprayed. He, did whatever exterminators do because he had to use like 4 different things. And the house is a pier and beam house. It sits partially on the ground, but it has on the back half of it, you can get underneath it. I've never gone under there. Not going to happen. He did. He went under it. There was thousands of American cockroaches underneath this house.
Oh my God.
Thousands. And so the way it was explained to me was roaches don't just go to a house. They don't just go to a house and are like, hey, this is a nice house. I'm going to stay here. They stay there for a reason. There's a food source. So whatever was in that house, I guess they called their friends or something because they all came. Okay,
they had a roach block party at that house, but consistent.
Yeah, exactly. And they were living there rent free. And so then I addressed it with the tenant and I said, do you know that there's cockroaches, there's roaches everywhere. And at first he said, you're being ridiculous. He says, there's been roaches there since day one. There's never been a roach.
The hell there wasn't.
And per his lease, he would have been the one that would have needed to take care of it. I'm responsible for the exterior pests, not the interior pests, because I didn't bring those in.
And we had
it.
And
I said, so you've been living with roaches for 4 years? Because that doesn't seem normal.
Literally disgusting.
So after I got my keys, after he returned the key or had someone return them for him, I told him, I said, well, now that I've got your keys and you've vacated the property without paying your penalty and you turned in your notice 4 days ago, I said, I'll see you in court.
Yeah.
For the rest of the rent, which would be $12,950. I said, but that's not even going to scratch the surface here. We'll be in touch. I said, you'll be my attorney. We'll be in touch with you. I said, because this is honestly the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life. I said, and this is not my first property. And at first I said, so are you going to pay your penalty? Do you want to walk away from this and do, he goes, what? Before I could even finish my sentence, well, I don't have the money. Okay, fine. So I told him how much it was going to be. I said, after I assess damages, you'll be served papers.
Yeah.
And so then I get home that day, and he texts my husband and says, your wife is threatening me. And my husband said, she's not threatening you. She's telling you exactly what is in your written agreement is going to happen.
Yeah.
So then he started, I don't know if maybe he got on Dr. Google or whatever he did, but he had a solid change of heart. He has decided and he has followed through with paying the penalty. And then by the 14th, we will have his back rent. Now, that's not going to cover everything. I'm already out in damages alone. It's like $9,700 on top of what he's going to owe or what he would owe in rent, which would be So, what is that? $21,000, 21 grand. So that's what we're dealing with. The wood floors in the living room are going to have to come out. They're buckling from pet urine. Original 1950s hardwood floors.
I just, I've seen dirty houses. I've seen hoarder houses. I've seen a lot of shit, but hoarders are different. They're like hoarding just like the weirdest things and it's fine, whatever it is. But like to actually live in the waste and filth he was living in, like I don't understand. I I don't do you not know that you're not clean? Because I feel like obviously the term clean is very subjective, but I don't know how he could have told you right before he moved out that like, oh yeah, we got to clean, the place is in great shape. And then I saw the pictures. Like I'm going to show some of the pictures so people can see, but like I don't understand where the disconnect is in somebody's head.
The only thing I can attribute is some type of depression or mental illness, and I don't know that much about his life. So if there
Right.
is, that would be the only thing. But because this is not, and also I don't know how long he has actually been vacated from there too. I don't know how long the house has been vacant. I don't know how long he's been. I don't know if the animals have been there unattended for periods of time. I don't know. Does it look evident? Yes, it does. It looks like the
Yeah.
animals had been there for some time unattended. And it's no fault of theirs at
Yeah,
all.
no, of course. I mean, if they're there having to fend for themselves, I mean, yeah, it's a really bad situation. It's really unfortunate, I think, because, there are obviously very positive aspects to owning
Very.
rental properties, like, of course. But I think it's really important, like with anything, like to look at the positives and the negatives, because in this situation, the negative was really freaking bad. Like, this is
Yeah. So to
awful.
put it in perspective, over the course of 4 years, okay,
Yeah.
positive is I made $25,000 in income that I didn't have to work for.
Right.
However, I'm now spending out of my own pocket um, almost half of that to overhaul to get this ready and marketable for somebody else. I mean, at this point, up until yesterday, the house honestly should have been condemned. Nobody should have been allowed in it. And I'm not saying that to be funny. It truly, truly was a hazard to your health. I mean, being inside of it is just and then people don't think about they think about, oh, let's go paint, clean, put new carpet down. They don't think about exterminating bugs and having to have your air ducts flushed and having ozone treatments done, which that's going to cost me like $800 for all of that. They don't think about the replacement of appliances because now the appliances are ruined. The roaches have infested the internal guts of the appliances. So they have to be, I got to pull them out because I'm not going to leave that there for somebody who's, putting food in a refrigerator, even if they are dead.
Right.
It's,
Yeah, no, I
it's
understand.
not safe. And
Right.
so that right there, that's, more money, more money, and more money. It's just it's really unfortunate. And when I tell you that this kind of shit will traumatize you, this really, I never in my wildest dreams, I knew the house was probably going to be dirty,
You would
but
expect dirty, okay? Like that's
I didn't,
that's one
yeah,
thing.
I didn't know that it was going to be this depleted. And can you imagine if I would have subletted it? I'm sure I would have been getting phone calls pretty soon, but I would have had no idea of how bad it was. Because keys would have been handed over and I would have said, here, you qualify, go ahead and move in.
Right, exactly. Girl, that's
And from the outside, driving by, the yard is mowed, there's no trash anywhere that you can see. So
right.
you don't mess with people. Oh, they're keeping their yard up. You would assume that the inside of their home would look the same.
Well, now you know. I
So
mean, this shit sucks. Like it really does, and it's one of the worst case scenarios, I think. But it is something to think about for sure. And I think like moving forward, what is your new intention moving forward after having this situation? What have you learned now when, procuring another client or tenant?
Well, the way that we're going to handle the next one, I've sharpened my knife and I've sharpened my knowledge. And what I plan to do is obviously they are going to be screened through credit, criminal background, and I want 3 landlord references of places that they have. I don't want to talk to somebody where they still live. I want to talk to landlords where they moved out of.
Yep.
And I wanted to put a clause in my lease that every 6 months, as needed, if I see fit to do a walkthrough, then I can. Because my landlord did that to me here in the house that I live in before we bought it. Every 6 months, he would come walk through and he'd check the major, the water heater and the air conditioner, and I feel like you're entitled to do that when somebody's renting from you. You're not there to invade their personal space and see how nice their furniture is and check up on their, what's going on. I don't care. I just want to make sure that I don't get myself back in a situation like this, because this truly is just it's awful. I don't wish it on anybody, and advice to anybody that's looking to buy a house and rent it out. Really, really, really screen your folks, because it's really, really unfortunate when you get in a situation like this. So don't leave your ass out in the wind thinking that because you know someone that they're good people.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, I think in situations like that, sometimes they'll take advantage of the fact that they know you in some cases, and they take less care of the property. I've seen that a lot before too. So, yeah,
Right.
I think screening is really the best safeguard that you have, but it's not fail safe, obviously,
It's
because
not. It's not. You can be great on paper and still be a nasty person.
yeah, 100%. So I think it really is the best you can do. So now moving forward, I know this experience sucks, but it is a learning lesson. So, and
Very
now
much so.
you're going to get more rent on it too, which,
Yes.
once you
Well,
guys list
now we're
it.
completely upgrading everything. So,
Yeah, exactly. So you'll get more for it. You'll start recouping some of those losses, and then
right.
hopefully your next tenant is a 180-degree difference from the sky.
That's what we're hoping for. So that's what we're hoping for.
Oh, God. Well, thank you for sharing your story. I
Yes, of
appreciate you taking your
course.
time.
Of course.
Thanks, y'all, for watching. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to help. All of my info is in the description box below. And until the next time, y'all take care.